Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and welcome you all to news reporting course. This course has a course code of GMC 225. This is lecture number 8 and today we are going to discuss news writing style. I am Anwar Khan, lecturer journalism and mass communication department, Kohat University of Science and Technology. So the agenda points, what we are going to discuss in our today's session. So first of all, we are going to have a look at the news writing style. We will define news writing style, that what does it mean, and students will come to know about the very meaning and definition of news writing style. And it is very necessary for them to understand it because directly going to the news writing technique and if they don't have information about the news writing style, that how it can be defined or what does it mean, then it will be very injustice and it will be very immature attempt on the part of the students. So it is necessary for them to have this understanding, to have basic information about the news writing style. And then we are going to discuss the importance of news writing style. We will discuss and explain that why is it no so necessary that we are discussing it over here, and why is it so necessary that throughout the world in all the media organizations they are following the same style, right? A bit of the variations will be there, but the same structure, the same style, they are following it. So why is it so important, why is it so necessary that different news organizations they are following it? So we are going to discuss it. And then the structure, news writing structure, that how you will write a news story. And this is very important for the students because learning it and then practicing it, it is very important for them because once they learn it, then after graduating from the department, uh, uh, when they go into the field, they will be writing and they will be following the same structure, the same technique of writing a story. So it is very important for the students to pay attention over here so that they come to know about the news writing structure, that how a news story flows. And remember that this very structure is same for the print journalism, for the broadcast journalism, and for the online journalism. The technique, the structure for the news stories is same. So pay attention over here. And then finally, we are going to have a discussion on the inverted pyramid style. And we are also going to discuss the history of the inverted pyramid style. So these are the 4 points, 4 agenda points that we are going to explain and discuss in our today's session. So the first agenda point is news writing style. Let's generate a debate about it. Let's understand it comprehensively. That what do we mean by it? Because this is the very basic point, and from here we will move ahead. And it is necessary for us to understand that if anyone asks us that what do we mean by news writing style, at that time we will be able to answer it if we understand it. So news writing style is also known as news style or journalistic style, or news writing style, right? So these are the three names that can be used interchangeably, and it is a unique writing style, right? Used in the media for writing news stories. So we came to know about it that this news writing style is a unique writing style, fine, and we use it in the media for developing or writing news stories. So we came to know that news writing style is nothing but a unique writing style, and that is used in the media industry to write news stories. So what happens that the responsibility of the reporter is to collect information about events, about realities that exist in the society. And once the information is collected, the second responsibility is to develop it in the form of a news story. And then this news story will be given to the audience. Fine. So when you want to develop a news story from the information, you need a certain structure and certain style. And this with style is basically called news writing style. The style which we are using for the in the media industry for writing and developing new stories, right? This is what we call as the news writing style. And it is very interesting to know that this with style, news writing style, is followed by all news organizations nationally and internationally. This is very interesting, right? If you are working in Pakistan, if you are working in print journalism or electronic journalism or in the online journalism, if you are working, so it will be followed nationally by all the media organizations, right? And then nationally, if if any of the journalists or reporters working with the BBC or CNN or Fox News or Al Jazeera, so they are following the same style, they are following the same structure, fine. So it is so important for the students to know that what is the style and how we develop our stories, right? So it is very important for them to understand. And this peculiar style, I mean this news writing style, it is distinguishes journalistic write-ups from other writings like poetry writing, like drama writing, like prose writing, creative writing. I mean, our journalistic writing or language is different than the prose writing, than the poetry writing, than drama writing. It is completely and absolutely different from these genres, right? So, I hope that you would have understood that what do we mean by news writing style and why is it so important. And let's discuss in the coming slide that why is it so important. So why is it so important that we are discussing news writing style? Let's have a discussion about it. So the very first point is that news writing style gives formal shape to the news stories. Well, it means that all the stories that we are reading either in the newspaper or on the television or on the online, it has the same shape, it has the same format or the style, right? And this is very interesting. If you pick up Urdu newspaper or English newspaper and compare the stories with each other, you will find that the stories are same, the style and the structure will be same, and this is very interesting. And similarly, if you read stories on the television, again you will find it in the same way. And if you are listening to a radio, again the news stories, the same news stories that appear in the Urdu or English newspaper, and if you are listening the same stories on the radio, you will find it again the same thing, again in the same shape, again in the same format, right? And it is not only the national media news organizations or news industries that are following it. Throughout the world they are following it. If you are listening to the CNN or BBC or Al Jazeera or reading the Guardian newspaper or other very famous newspaper, international newspapers, again they are following the same style, right? Yes, I accept that there will be a bit of the variations, I accept, but the basic and the main idea they will be following, that they it will be the same for all the news organizations. And then we say that it eases the work of the journalists and editors, because when all of them they are following the same pattern, then it eases the work of the journalist, because journalists have a specific framework that they are to write their stories or they are to develop their stories in this very specific format. And similarly, when editors are checking the stories, they also know that that this is a particular format and the stories has to be in this format. So it eases the work of the journalist and the editors. And this very style, because this is a unique style, it grabs attention of the audience because it is written in such a way that I mean we are going to discuss it in the coming slides. It is written, I mean the stories are written in such a way that it grabs attention of the audience, right? How it is written in the coming slides, we are going to discuss it. And then finally it saves the time of the audience, and this is very important because in the 21st century audience don't have much of the time. So in order to grab their attention and in order to save their time, a specific style has been developed, right? So that audience have maximum of the information and that their time is also saved. I mean, in the coming slides, it will automatically be explained, because in the coming slides we are going to discuss it. So this slide basically discusses that why a news writing style is important to follow in the media. So the style that we are following in the media industry, in the print journalism, in the online journalism, in the television journalism, is called inverted pyramid style, and this is very interesting, and this is very important for the students to note it down, because this is a practical session, and they will be developing their stories. I mean, this is not some theoretical lecture that they will be hearing and then they will attempt their paper. It is something else, but they will be following the same thing in the field. When they go out after graduation, they go out into the journalistic field, and they are given the responsibility to develop news stories. So it is very important to understand it completely. So inverted pyramid style, I mean, over here we are following the inverted pyramid style. This is a pyramid, but this is absolutely inverted pyramid style. So why is it inverted pyramid, and what does inverted pyramid style mean? So what happens that it means that the most important information, right? The most important information, I mean, it has to be given in the lead, and this is the very first paragraph, right? The very first paragraph is the most important paragraph of the news story, and then we come to the body, and slowly and gradually what happened that less important information and least important information are given in a chronological manner, right? So I hope that you are getting my point. So the most important information will have to be given in the very first paragraph. So we are going to discuss, I mean, we will be discussing it, that how we will give the most important information. So this is a separate technique which is called who, what, where, when, why, and how. I mean, in the coming slide, we are going to discuss it. So inverted pyramid style basically means that the most important information will be given in the very first paragraph, and this first paragraph is known as the lead or the intro, and then in the body, slowly and gradually, less important information and then again less important information will be given in a chronological manner, in a systematic manner, and then the least important information will be given in the bottom of the news story, right? So that's why it is called as a inverted pyramid style. Let's have a look at the history of inverted pyramid style when it was first used in the media industry. We know about the history that it is always controversial. Controversial in the sense that people or critics or scholars, they do not agree on a single point. There will be some of the ideas or events where critics and scholars agree on a single point, but most of the times they disagree with each other, and every group or scholars, they present their opinion, their view, that their view is right as compared to others. And I mean, that is the reason that we are not sure about the absolutely we are not sure about that when inverted pyramid style was first used in the field of journalism. But let's have a look at it. So according to one group of scholars, they say that inverted pyramid style is associated with the invention of the telegraph. And this telegraph, we know that it was invented by Samuel Morse in 1940s. And basically this telegraph, this is the image you can see. It revolutionized the long distance communication, because it is in the human nature to introduce, to bring about changes, and to invent new ideas and phenomenon. So uh, people were looking for communication devices, that how we can communicate for long distance and within short span of time. So Samuel Morse, he came up with a successful telegraph, and his telegraph was very much successful. And then he made his own codes, specific codes for the transmission, for the message transmission, right? So according to one group of the people, they say that inverted pyramid style is associated with the telegraph, all right, is associated with the invention of the telegraph. But another group of critics say that no, it is not so. It is, it basically has taken place in the US when yellow journalism was, it was discarded and people were not viewing, people were not looking to the yellow journalism with good eye. They were saying that yellow journalism or sensational journalism was not good. And they say that this inverted pyramid style basically forced the reporters at their time in the US to use the inverted pyramid style for factual reporting, right? And then yet third group of the people, they say that it was actually in the war areas, in the war zone reportings, that the inverted pyramid style was used. So there are different groups of people with their own logics, with their own opinions, and we will consider all of them as right. So let's have a look at the structure of a news story. For example, when a responsibility or task is given to a student or a journalist or a reporter to develop a news story from certain information, then how he or she can develop a news story from that very information. What is the possible structure of a news story? So the structure of a news story is that first of all, it is divided into three parts. The first part is headline, the second one is intro, and the third one is the body. So in headline is basically a short sentence which summarizes the whole of the story, right? Headline is a short sentence which summarizes the whole of the story. And after the headline, we have the intro. And intro basically is in the form of the paragraph. And this is, we can say that the expanded form of the headline. We came to know about the headline that it is a short sentence, while introduction, intro, or lead, it is in the form of a paragraph, and this is the expanded form of the headline, wherein we have more details about certain elements. And then body is again more and more expanded form of the intro or the lead, right? So we can see that it moves from the top to bottom, that we have the headline, we have the intro, and we have the body of the story. So a news story is basically divided into three parts: headline, intro, and the body. So let me give you an example, and I hope that with this example you will be able to understand the things and the contents that we are discussing. So here is the example that in the previous slide we came to know that a news story is divided into three parts: headline, intro, and the body. So the very first line, first 1.5 line, this one: India says officer to soldiers killed in violent face-off on border with China. So this one is the headline, and this one, this paragraph, the first paragraph, this is the intro or the lead. And then the following paragraphs, like this one, and all these paragraphs, it makes the body of the story, right? So we can see that this headline is basically expanded or explained in the intro, and then this intro is more explained in the coming paragraphs, right? So this intro or lead is in the form of one single paragraph, and this headline is in the form of 1.5 line, one line, right? And then body, it consists of several paragraphs, right? So these three parts come together and make this and make a story. And remember that this very story has been taken from the Dawn newspaper, and I hope that it would be easy for you people now to understand. Remember and keep it in mind that intro or lead is the very first paragraph, right? The very first paragraph is the lead, and the very first line, it is actually the headline, and then comes the body of the news story. So in the previous slide, we discussed the structure of the news story, and we came to know that the structure of the news story is in the form of the headline and intro and the body. So we are going to discuss them separately so that our students can understand it easily. So first of all, we are going to discuss headline. So in the previous slide, we discussed a headline, that a headline is a line basically that appears above a news story with certain objectives, right? So remember that it is actually a line that appears above a news story, and it has certain objectives. So what could be the purpose or objective of a headline? So the purpose of the headline is to attract the attention of the readers, because what happens that when a reader purchases a newspaper, or he or she is watching television or listening to the radio or reading the stories from the online industry, so there are numerous stories over there. So the purpose and the function of the headline is that it grabs attention of the reader, right? Because there are numerous stories over there, and each story, it has a headline, and that is the reason that headlines are written in a sensational manner, not that sensational manner, but in a you can say attractive manner, right? The headlines are written and with the purpose to attract the attention of the audience, and they are so important that in all forms of journalism, I mean print journalism, electronic journalism, online journalism, we have the headlines. There will not be a single story which do not have a headline. All the stories, right, they have headlines. And it another thing in the 21st century, that the changing nature of the headline. Now the nature of the headline is changing, because in the online world we have data journalism and other stories, wherein we have multiple headlines. I mean, we have one main headline, and then in the story again a sub headline are given, and then more headlines are given. So the nature of the headlines, they are changing. So let me summarize that a headline is basically a line that appears above a news story, and the function of the headline is to attract the attention of the audience, and that is the reason that it is written that the headline is written in attractive manner. Let me give you the example, and I hope that with this example you will understand more about the headlines. So you can see that this is the Dawn newspaper, the front page of the Dawn newspaper, and we have several stories over here. This one, this one, this one, this story, and this story, and we have several other stories on the inside pages. So this is the first page, the front page, and we have this story. So this is the body of the story, this one is the lead of the story, and this is the body of the story. So the headline, we came to know about it, that it is a line that appears above the text, right? So this is the headline which is given, that vaccination for 50 to 59 age group to start from 21st, right? So this is the headline, and similarly this one, it is the headline because it appears above the text, it appears above the news story. And this one, this is again a news story, a headline, and this is the body of the news body. And you can see that always, I mean all the time, we find that headline is a single sentence or one and a half sentence, right? This one is one and a half sentence. Look at this one. So this one, we have again very short line for the headline. So it means that we try to use a very minimum number of words in the headline. So I hope that it is easy for you to understand that where we find a headline. So let's discuss the second part, which is called lead, and remember that it is also called as intro. So lead or intro, students should not be confused in it. Let's discuss what is lead. Lead is an opening paragraph of a news story that gives the most important information of the story in a concise and clear manner, while still maintaining the reader's interest. So, a lead is basically the very first paragraph of a news story. Remember that the very first paragraph, it is not the second paragraph or the third paragraph or the fourth paragraph, right? It is the very first paragraph of the news story is called lead, and this lead, it gives the most important information of the news story, right? We came to know about the headline, that it is the one line or one and a half line that appears above the news story, while Lead is in the form of the paragraph, and it gives the most important information of the news story to the audience. And how it gives this information? It gives information in a clear and concise manner. Why? Because we have only one paragraph. That is the reason that we are giving information in a clear manner and concise manner, right? So that the readers interest, that we can maintain the reader's interest, and we can force them to read the whole of the story. And if a reader is not interested, or he or she does not have much of the time to read the whole of the story, then at least he or she will have idea that was what the story was all about. Why? The reason is that all the important information was given in the very first paragraph, and that is the reason that the purpose of the first paragraph of or the lead is to attract attention of the reader, to force him to read the whole of the story. And even if the reader is not in a position to read the whole of the story, then by reading the only first paragraph, he will have information about that what the story was all about. So this is lead, and this was the purpose of the lead. Let me give you another example, and I hope that it will help you a lot. The very first line, we came to know that it appears above the text. This is called the headline. It cannot be called as the lead, right? The it is called the headline because it is very short. It is one line or one and a half line, and it appears above the text or the news story. And then we have this very first paragraph, this one. So this first paragraph is called the lead, right? And then we have other paragraphs like this one, and other paragraphs. So this is actually the body of the story. So we came to know that a news story is divided into three parts: headline, lead, and the body. And it is very interesting to note and keep it in mind that if you want to write the lead, surely you will be writing a new story. So when you are developing the lead, the very first paragraph, so there is a specific formula for it, and this formula is called as 5 W's 1 H. In the lead consists of 5 W's and 1 H. So what are 5 W's and 1 H? Let's discuss it in the next slide. So 5 W's 1 H means who is it about, what happened, when did it take place, where did it take place, why did it happen, and how did it happen. So these are 5 W's and 1 H. So when you are writing the lead of the story, so you will need to answer all these 5 W's and 1 H. And sometimes it is not possible to answer all 5 W's. I mean, sometimes, for example, if a murder has taken place, so it is not clear that why it has happened. So we simply write that where did it happen, when did it happen, what has happened, and who is it about. I mean, who are involved in it, right? So we are going to write it in this manner. So 5 W's 1 H helps us to write the intro. And as you can see, if you look it, you will come to know that this is basically the very basic information. This 5 W's 1 H gives the most important and the very basic information in the lead paragraph. And that is the reason that when after reading the very first paragraph, and readers do not read the whole of the story, even then they have information about the story, that what the story was all about. So body, which is the last and the final part of the new story, we know that body comes after the very first paragraph, and the first paragraph is the lead or the intro. So body of the new story will start after the lead, and it gives information in a descending order of importance. We came to know that less important information, and then at the end of the story we will have the least important information, right? So this is the way in which the body of the new story will flow. And journalists basically follow inverted pyramid style in developing the body when they are writing the body of the new story. So they follow the inverted pyramid style, and we have already discussed this inverted pyramid style in the previous slides. So look at this example, this line, as we have already discussed, this is the headline, this is the lead, and this is the body, right? The first paragraph, second paragraph, third and fourth, and it continues, right? So we can say that body consists of more paragraphs, and it explains all the information that are given in the lead. And in the lead, we came to know that we follow a certain formula, and this formula is known as 5Ws and 1H, right? So this is the body of the news story. So this is the end of today's session, and I hope that you would have understood all the concepts and ideas that we have discussed in our today's session. And let me repeat again that the contents that we discussed today are very important in the sense that after graduating, when you are working in the media industry, you will be asked to write stories, to develop new stories, and the same technique that I told you that we discussed today, you will be you will be doing it over there. So it is very necessary for you, very important for you to practice news writing stories, right? So see you in the next lecture. Till that, Allah Hafiz.